The truth about the war in Ukraine lasting so long is that Russia is truly in shambles. The failure of the summer offensive opened the door to an even greater nightmare: Vladimir Putin's winter. What really threatens the Kremlin is not just the battles on the front lines, but something much deeper. A fuel crisis that is already paralyzing entire cities, causing mile-long lines, and exposing the vulnerability of Russian power. How did Ukraine achieve this? Can a smaller country bring down the Russian energy giant using only drones? And what happens when half the population starts to feel the war in their wallets? Today, you will see how calculated attacks destroyed refineries, pipelines, and fuel depots in Volgograd, Saratov, Ryazan, and Krasnodar. You'll understand why 38% of Russia's refining capacity was shut down in September 2025. You will also find out how regions like Zaporizhia, Crimea, Nizhny Novgorod, and even the Russian Far East are facing lines, rationing, and prices reaching $9 per gallon on the black market. Welcome to Militar News, your center for geopolitical intelligence. We are committed to the truth, the kind that mainstream media doesn't show. Here, every piece of information is strategic, every news item is a warning, and every detail can change the history course. Ukraine was not interested in attacking civilians. Its strategy has always been to hit the Russian war machine at its most vital point: fuel. While Moscow was bombing hospitals, schools, and residential neighborhoods, Kiev was launching drones at refineries. The impact took a while to appear, but now it's undeniable. Closed gas stations, suspended exports, rising inflation, and school buses halted for lack of gasoline. To understand the weight of this crisis, remember that Russia is capable of producing more than 11 million barrels of oil per day. This funds both the war and the lifestyles of millions of Russians. Even so, in July 2025, Moscow was forced to suspend gasoline exports. The official reason was high summer demand, but analysts saw a different reality. Successive explosions at refineries made it impossible to maintain production. The Institute for the Study of War, in its September 11 report, made it clear: Ukrainian attacks not only affect the army, but the entire Russian domestic market, raising prices and causing economic instability. Proof of this can be found in statements by governors such as Yevgeny Belitsky of Zaporizhzhia and Sergei Aksionov of Crimea. Both, even though allied with the Kremlin, admitted failures in supply and endless lines. In more than 20 regions, the shortage is visible. Ryazan, Rostov, Saratov, Samara, Ulyanovsk, Penza, Astrakhan, and Tatarstan are on the map. In Nizhny Novgorod, school buses ran out of fuel. In Crimea, half of the gas stations closed. In the Caucasus, the HTK network suspended sales of 92-octane gasoline. In Venino, in the Far East, drivers formed kilometer-long lines out of fear of shortages. And that fear is not unfounded. The black market has exploded. In September, reports showed prices up to $9 per gallon, while the average Russian salary is only about $1,200 a month. For many, filling up now costs half their income. Even official statistics adjusted by the government reveal increases of 26% in a single month. Videos on Telegram, despite censorship, showed fires at refineries and columns of smoke covering the sky. Military bloggers, who were once loyal to the Kremlin, now expose flaws in the air defense system and even suggest conspiracies, claiming that the government itself lets refineries explode to drive up prices. The truth, however, is harsher. Russia simply does not have enough defenses to shoot down all the drones. And each attack, even a small one, means tons of lost oil, damaged storage, and millions of dollars that don't go into Moscow's coffers. On September 25, 2025, the Ukrainian commander Oleksandr Syrsky summed it up. The capabilities of the Russian military-industrial complex have been significantly reduced. That's clear. Igor Susko says 25% of refining capacity is already lost. For Ukraine, these attacks are not just military strategy, they're psychological warfare, because without fuel, even the most powerful armies come to a halt. Without fuel, tanks stall, planes stay grounded, and people begin to question their leaders. The crisis doesn't just affect the energy sector, it undermines Putin's narrative. For years, state propaganda convinced Russians that the special military operation wouldn't affect their lives. With soaring prices, long lines, and gas station restrictions, even the most nationalistic now have doubts. Bloggers want new actions. Some want more weapons to target drones, while others propose a special agency to safeguard refineries. But everyone knows Russia can't match Ukraine in this asymmetric game. And the final effect could be devastating. A discontented population, a pressured economy, and an army without fuel. This triple blow threatens both the war effort and the internal stability of Putin's regime. Meanwhile, Kiev keeps moving forward. Its drones, described as Magyar's birds, attack every week, bringing chaos to regions far from the front. Even the far eastern part of Russia, supposedly protected, feels the impact. Now the question remains, how far can this go? Will Ukraine be able to force Russia to negotiate? Or could Moscow collapse internally before the frontline conflict is settled? History shows that wars are rarely decided only on the battlefields. They are often won through economic collapse and social exhaustion. And the Russian fuel crisis could be exactly that turning point. In the coming months, the trend is clear. Longer lines, higher prices, and an increasingly impatient population. Meanwhile, Putin faces not only Ukraine, but also the weight of reality within his own country. How can you claim victory when half the gas stations are closed? How can you convince families that it's worth it when the fuel to take their children to school simply doesn't exist? This is Ukraine's invisible war. Less explosive for those watching from the outside, but deeply destructive to the heart of Russia. A war that damages tanks, planes, and the Russian people's trust in their leader. If you've made it this far, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This really helps bring more in-depth and up-to-date analysis about the war in Ukraine and other conflicts around the world. And tell me in the comments, do you believe this crisis could be the beginning of the end for Putin?